great to have both you guys. You have been both such a critical, pivotal part of this event. The chairs, everybody's so leaned in this year. I mean, ideas and contributions, we kept pushing. I need the big photos, I need this and that. You guys have just been really great, so thank you for that. Before we get into the topic at hand, which is next 12 to 18, let's talk a little bit about what have you gotten out so far? Any big themes popping up? Victor, we'll start with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a lot of conversations around kind of what is the next phase of digital buildings. And I think that it's extremely important for us to collectively kind of get that, the strategy going forward. So I attended a session yesterday where they're talking about like what is the siloed solutioning that was happening before, with every system had its own computer, right? You go to the control room and you see 8 computers and 1 for each systems, and now really making the investment to go, hey, let's integrate all of that into a single platform, and then help the.
You're making me laugh. I mean, what you just described, the years 2004. We just got back, or we're going to Asia. We're going to Tokyo all the way through Singapore. A guy named Matt Spathis. Matt, I hope you're watching. He had Century Towers in San Diego. It was one of the highest, most iconic buildings. So we went to Asia, and we saw everything you just described, right? So he invites me to the first meeting of all the different systems guys. We're in the conference room, and they all got their own boxes, and he sits there at the front of the table, and he goes, gentlemen, I don't know if you know what is in store for you, but by the end of this journey, you're all going to have all your systems into one box, and it's going to speak IT/IP.
Yeah.
And they like all looked. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Like he had 4 heads, I'm sure.
Yeah. And it took 3 years.
Yeah.
But here's the best part. He, at that point, had one of the most digital buildings in the country, if not the world. Somebody else bought it who will go unnamed. They pulled it all out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, I guess, to answer your question, that's absolutely one of the observations I'm making. But I think what we're doing now is setting the foundation to build more autonomous buildings, or buildings that will solve for the experience, but also for energy and sustainability, right? And I think everyone is now on that page, and I'm super motivated, energized that that's where the industry is going.
How does it feel when you're in a room of so many smart people? I mean, seriously. I mean, I've been to a lot of events and everything, but everybody here is a leader. Everybody here is an innovator. Everybody here is a risk taker. And one guy came up to me, he goes, I found my people.
It's encouraging.
It is encouraging.
Yeah, it's certainly encouraging that this industry is starting to take a step in the right direction with respect to how we're taking technology, rolling it into our buildings, and really starting to see real outcomes. You know, for so long, and I've been the loudest on this subject for so long, we've talked about it, and you know, even today, there's still a bunch of folks still talking about it. But I think one of the biggest themes for me is seeing these strategies actually being put into motion. And you know, you heard us yesterday on stage with all of our executives across the business. We're actually doing it. There's to the time.
Well, you've achieved another level, I think, where all of your executives are aligned.
Right.
And it's, you know, usually somebody who's got ambitions like you've got and a vision like you've got, you'll get 1 or 2, and then when you leave the room, they all talk about you. And then maybe your projects go forward, maybe they don't. I think that alignment, and I think that was part of your strategy, is why you're having the success.
100%.
No pushback.
We wouldn't be able to do it, and I said it, you know, very clearly the other day. The success of the strategy that we've put in place is entirely dependent on the idea that everybody believes in it and actually buys into it.
There's no selling anymore.
There's no selling. It's, if you're not, as one of my colleagues likes to say, either get on the bus or get under it. So at this point, that's where we're going.
It is such a simple concept when you look at it from a communication standpoint, an organizational structure standpoint. If you don't have to go back and sell and convince, no decks, no PowerPoints, no meetings, no lunches. And that energy that you would have put in selling, you're now putting towards getting it done. And they're on the same trajectory as you are. That's the #1 lesson coming out of this conference room.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is, you know, generally speaking with this entire industry, we tend to overcomplicate things too. This isn't as difficult as everyone likes to make it out to be. It's about just getting everybody on the same page.
Well, and the Tavistock guys today, they're building a digital city, a digital district.
Right.
And the lead guys, the senior guys were talking about, that's what it's all about. Not only are they not on the same page, but they're feeding each other. Right. So, I mean, maybe we'll pivot our conversation a little bit. You know, and I do want to find out what you guys are thinking the next 12 to 18 months, but if all of the people here watching this or on YouTube later, the number one message is forget about the technology, forget about the real estate, get your organization aligned with a singular vision that pushes everybody, encourages failure and risk, not too big, but you got to take chances.
A rising tide raises all boats, to use the old cliche, right? And I think that's what we're trying to do, and that's why everybody's here. There's certain things that are absolutely competitive advantage and differentiates our space from other people's spaces, but we can't be the only ones doing it. So that's why I'm so loud, because the more that jump on board and that follow through with these strategies and actually execute and implement, the better it's going to be for all of us.
Yeah, and throughout my entire career, I always tried to put myself out of a job.
Yeah.
Because I was always wanting to move and do something different, right? So I can't do that until I get somebody else to do what I'm doing, you know. And that's the way you really grow, and that's what keeps it exciting. You're never going to be without a job, not in this industry. We're short people.
Yeah. It's just the workforce. Everything's changing, right? People are shifting their focuses, and I think you just need to be, nimble and be open to the fact that things aren't going to be the way that they were yesterday.
Well, it's something as simple as the set and what we're doing here. I mean, this 45 minutes ago was a general session room.
Yeah.
And with the change of lights and screen and furniture, it's now Realcomm. In fact, one guy, I forgot, Joe Chapetta was sitting back there. He goes, Tom, is that the stage you were on yesterday?
Where'd everything
go? It's the same stage.
Yeah.
He goes, and they were sitting, right? Everything was moving, and they're like, and he goes, oh my God, it's like we're right in the middle of this transformation, this flex hybrid space that uses movable walls and technology. And that's why we did it, because we wanted to, try to teach people on what the opportunities were.
Absolutely. I think one thing that comes to mind is we need to consistently and constantly continue to question our assumptions, especially in the next year. We need to be ready to pivot. I think one thing that came to mind is you're seeing a lot more mature tenants and tenants that come with a higher level of requirements, right? And so I think this is what's building these relationships, right? Collectively, it's not only the vision of the developer, it's now in tandem the vision of the future tenant, and the maturity continues to grow. Right? I see it in my organization now. I mean, I have folks here from my team attending these conferences because this is how
the number of teams here this year.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here's where we start learning what is the right vision, right? What is the right framework, and what works for our organization, and what doesn't work for our organization. So I'm excited.
And thank you for all you guys who brought teams, because it helps the community build, grow. But I do think it helps you, because then you don't have to go back and sell or teach or educate. They've
well,
seen
that's
it.
the thing.
Exactly.
It's interesting, right? When you bring in ideas, they look at you a little cockeyed. But if it's somebody else, if you point to somebody else outside of your own business, they go, okay, we need to do that. So the more our peers can convince their management boards to do the thing, it makes my life a lot easier.
And it's science. It's where are you going to put your energy, selling or executing?
Yeah.
I'd much rather have everybody on board, really synced, and then I can get things done.
Yeah.
Right? All right, we only got a minute or two. Victor, next 12 to 18 months, what's the big things LinkedIn's going to be looking at, as far as getting back into that office? And
so I think it's a couple of things here. And I need another 2 minutes.
No, we got 2 minutes.
Okay.
Mary's going to yell at me, and I'm going to take
She's going to reset the clock? Okay, so
5 more minutes.
So one is really paying a lot of attention to the supply versus demand. Tom and I were talking about it right before coming up on stage. But how are people coming into the office, and why are they coming into the office? I don't think we have enough behavioral data to be able to even estimate what the new steady state is going to be. I think it's going to take us now 6 to 18 months.
Yep.
So that's one thing.
Study,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So pay attention, study, ask questions. Why? And then the second, kind of related to that, is what is the right size of your portfolio? What is the right solutions you have to provide to support how people are going to work in the future? And I know you're about to ask a question, but here's the last thing is the collaboration between the people coming to the office and the people that are remote. A significant number of people on LinkedIn now have decided to work remote. So now we have to think about how do we make, using technology, using smart buildings, how do we make an even playing field for everyone so that everyone can be successful?
So how does Mary bump into Bob in the hallway when Bob's working out of his house?
Right.
Exactly.
We got some ideas on how that's going to happen.
Yep.
So we'll chat. Thano, next 12 to 18, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's still just all about execution,
Execution.
right?
That's
We've,
fair.
there's, of course, a number of innovations and things that we're pursuing, but at the end of the day, we're focused on changing the operating model. We're focused on bridging the gap between landlord and tenant so we can offer more than just an empty box to our customers across asset classes. So regardless of who our customer is, create a unique and differentiated experience and really just drive the strategy through the portfolio as fast as we can. That's what it looks like.
I don't want to be overzealous, but I honestly believe the future of the commercial and corporate real estate industry is in this room. I really do. And you two guys being next to each other is not by accident. One of the leading, most innovative corporate occupier tenants and one of the leading commercial landlords.
Thank you.
This was not a mistake. You got a relationship that, how many conferences? You go to one conference or all the corporations and you go to another commercial.
Yeah.
We've intentionally integrated the two of you because you have a relationship.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
You take space in his buildings.
That's it.
All right, Mary, sorry. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We've asked a lot of you, and boy, you've delivered, and I can't say thank you enough. So.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do.